Hello, everybody. Today it's we again in ScentTech Talks. Today I will interview scientist Adrian from Japan, right? But before that, I will say some words about the project. So this ScentTech Talks is part of the project supported by Norway via Norway grants, and the project calls Scent Recorder for Emotional Well-being. And within that project, we're supposed to build a scent recorder. This is a mock-up. So the aim of the project is to fill technology in this mock-up, which allows people to go in outdoors to record scent, coming back released, and change intensity, and erase recorded. So now I would like to start with our guest conversation with the guest. And Adrian, please introduce you and your work in the field of scent and scent perception.
Yes, hello. Thanks for inviting me on the show. My name's Adrian David Cheok, and I'm a professor in I University, Tokyo, Japan. I've been working for about 25 years or so on augmented and virtual reality. And I started off working on computer vision, so, computer graphics for augmented reality. But I became more and more interested to have all of the 5 senses, including not just audio visual, but touch, taste, and smell as part of the virtual reality or augmented reality, or what now people are calling metaverse. So for many years now, I've been working on producing digital scents and digital taste machines.
And yeah. So what is the things, right? What still scientists what are knowledge, what scientists understand about scent, and what knowledge still should be discovered?
Yes, surprisingly, even in 2023, 21st century, we actually I'm an engineer, so I build electronics, but of course I read the scientific papers and books about scent. But surprisingly, even in 2023, there is not actually very well-known knowledge about how we smell, how human beings smell. And I think this is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's never been seen as a serious medical problem. So, if you lose your sight, of course, it's devastating. If you lose your limbs, you can't, you lose your ability to move your legs or arm. That's a very serious problem. But losing your smell, I don't think in many medical people see that as a serious problem. So although it is, of course, it is very inconvenient, and it is probably very serious for the person involved. And that's probably why the scientists of anatomy and human biology didn't really study smell, and that is the main reason, because there was always 1,000 more important problems from the medical point of view. So to summarize, even in 2023, there is still no real knowledge about how do human beings smell. And in fact, there's even opposite views. Some scientists think we smell based on frequency. So the molecules generate a kind of different frequency in our nasal receptors. And other scientists think we have a kind of lock and key mechanism where the molecule locks into the sensor in our olfactory receptors. So even at the most fundamental level, the scientists do not agree how do we smell. So we don't really have any knowledge apart from, high school knowledge of how do we smell. But of course, we know it's because of some kind of molecules that go into our olfactory receptor, and then it produces some sensation of smell. But that's kind of like you could explain that to in high school, right? So we don't have really much more knowledge than a high school student about how do human beings smell, so that makes it very difficult for engineers, because we don't know exactly what is the mechanism for smell in human beings or in any other animals.
And I saw right your works in the sense that you are developing alternative paths, right? So that our olfactory system could be triggered not by chemicals but by electrical signals. Can you just elaborate on that idea, and how far are you with that?
That is correct. So we've been working probably nearly 10 years on this, which is to stimulate the olfactory receptor using electrical current. And the thinking behind this is ultimately all of the senses become an electrical signal in our brain, whether it's sight, whether it's taste. Finally, in our brain, it's electrical signal to the neural network. So our idea was to stimulate the olfactory receptor using electricity, and see whether it caused any smell. Now, when we try to see, because of course the first step in any science project is to look at the literature, of course. But surprisingly, there was no work on this topic, and there was some roundabout work. So some medical projects reported that they were stimulating the olfactory bulb with electricity, and for some medical purposes, and then the people reported a smell. So we thought, okay, let's see if we can do this as a interactive device. And so far, it's still very, very early days. And so what we have found is that, yes, indeed, smell can be triggered by electrical signals. So we basically have people come into our lab. Normally they're students from the university, but even general public come in, and we stimulate their nasal olfactory receptor, and they tell us what they smell. So we change the frequency, we change the current, and then we try to see how can we produce certain smells using certain frequencies and certain currents. So people report things like floral, sweet, but they also report some not good smells like smoky, and putrid, and some just feel some just report they feel the burning burning sensation. So it's still very, very early days, but I think what we can summarize is that smell can be produced by electrical signals stimulating the olfactory receptor.
Yes, and and what could be like future applications of this technology?
Well, the future of this, this goes back to my original research, which I was doing on virtual reality and augmented reality. That is the original motivation. What I want to do is I want to produce digital smells for virtual reality. So, and now people are using the word metaverse now. It's become a new word for virtual reality, for augmented reality. So the idea is that you could enter the metaverse and not only see and touch virtual characters or virtual people, but also smell. So have a virtual restaurant meal inside the metaverse. That's the kind of future that we're looking at. So that just like we have this computer screen to see, we'll have a kind of olfactory display for smelling.
Got it. And right, we have humanity has a photo camera, right? It started with photo camera and that capture what we see, then it's audio recorder for what we hear, but we don't have still some devices that would record scents. What what is your opinion or your vision why humanity would need scent recorders, some medium for scents?
Well, I don't think we need it. I mean, we don't really need. We've survived millions of years without any mobile phone or television, right? So we don't really need it. But it would be. I would say it would be very useful. And so, you know, for example, now if I go to a restaurant, I say, you know, I had a fantastic meal, this dish, you know, some special dish. I can describe it, but the other person can't understand it. But if I could capture the smell and the taste, it'd be so great to just like show a photo for, you know, on Instagram. I read somewhere that that, you know, 30 or 40% of photos are of food, right? So so people love to share their food, right? So but it's very difficult to describe in words, you know, okay, this was a fantastic meal, it tasted great, tasted like this, that, like, but you know, you can use many words, but it's so difficult to really convey the communication. So instead you can say, look, I went to this restaurant last week in Tokyo, Japan, and here I'm going to share you the smell, share you the taste, right? And that would be so great for human communication. And it can be done through email, right? So I can email you a smell from Tokyo to Norway, or and then you can I can say, this is a great restaurant in Tokyo. Next time you visit, and here's a sample of one of the dishes, right? And you can smell it. It's worth just like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, very similarly, a digital smell will be worth 1,000 words of description. And I think ultimately humans, we love to communicate. So, and as I said, we love to communicate about food through Instagram and all these social media. So people would love to use this kind of device. It would be a communication device, you know, entertaining communication. But you can also think of other applications. For example, most people think their grandmother's food is the best, right? Because they had it when they were younger, and that's the best time of your life when you're a little kid. So wouldn't it be great if we could capture grandmother's food? And, you know, like my grandmother passed away, you know, maybe 10 years ago, quite a long time ago. So wouldn't it be great? I could remember my grandmother, not just by looking at the photo, but also by virtually tasting and smelling grandmother's cooking, right? Even if she's passed away, even if she's gone to heaven, right? So there will be other applications, but I think it will be a very once it's available, people will find many uses for it. Okay, so you know, whenever you release a medium, the people who make the medium often can't predict how it will be used, right? So if you ask someone in 1980, how will the internet be used? You would get
Yes,
all the wrong answers, right?
you got it.
So
Got it.
so the medium, very famous saying by Marshall McLuhan in the 60s, the medium is the message. You know, what he meant was that when you release the media, in this case, smell media, people will make their own totally new applications that me and you, no other person can think of now. But the teenagers will think of the applications, right?
Yes. And the last question, just imagine, let's say after 5-10 years, there is a smell mediums, right? What would be the first thing which you personally would like to capture and to record or to digitally play back?
Well, I think that if my grandmother was still alive, that would be the first thing I would do. I would capture all of her dishes because no one can cook like her. No one can. All my, my aunties try to reproduce her dishes, but it's just not the same. So you know, some things, you know, you look at a recipe book and you can see all the ingredients, but you still need that kind of art, right? Cooking is a science, but cooking is also an art, right? It's an art form, right? So also, I'm lucky enough to be good friends with a famous chef in Spain. His name is Chef Louis, Chef Adrian in Mugaritz. He has a restaurant called Mugaritz, Chef Andoni. And I can't go to Spain like every week, right? So I have to do my job in Tokyo. But wouldn't it be great if Chef Andoni could send his latest dish by email to me, from Spain? So I think that would be the initial things I would like to do, right? I think people that would really enjoy this most would be the chefs. People who are chefs. They you even if you open up a restaurant, how many people can you cook for every night? You know, at the most maybe 50 or 100, right? At the most, right? But if you have this technology, you could produce for like YouTube, you know, millions
Millions.
of people, right? That's the advantage of digitizing smell.
Thank you very much, Adrian, for our conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.